Silakan Kasih.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Welcome to Untitled Chapter postgraduate building. We will start the Stadium General first. Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Honorable Professor Miguel, Honorable Dr. Fajar Junaedi as Head of Communication Department of Universitas Muhammadiyah Yogyakarta, and distinguished participants. First, let us say thank you to Allah Subhanahu wa Ta'ala who has been giving us mercies, guidance, happiness, and health so we are able to gather here. Praise and gratitude upon our Prophet Muhammad SAW, the last messenger who brought us from the Jahiliyah era to the Lightning era. On this special occasion, we are going to take part in Stadium General, Understanding Sport and Media in Spain with Professor Miguel Barbero Gonzales. I am Sri Hedwig Sariati, the Master of Ceremony today. Allow me to read several sequences of our agenda. First is opening, second is the presentation for Professor Miguel, and third, question and answer, and the last is closing. Thus, let's start this agenda by reciting basmalah together. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Okay, before beginning the discussion, allow me to share a brief introduction of our moderator today, Dr. Fajar Junaedi. He is a head of Communication Studies Department of UMR. He is also a football fan, and his research is all about it. And almost familiar with our moderator, Prof. Miguel, also expert in sports journalism, right, Mister? Okay, he's come from the Journalism and Audiovisual Communication Department of Universitas Carlos III de Madrid, Spain. Mr. Fajar, are you ready? Okay, because it is already the time. Mr. Fajar Junaedi, the room is yours.
Okay. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim.
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. In the name of Allah. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Thanks for your attending, especially Professor Miguel Barbero Gonzales from Madrid. Nice to meet you again after our Sunday. Visiting to PSIM store, SMBD store, and Mandala Krida Stadium, and the Monument of Indonesia Football Federation, and to Merapi Mountain Lavator. Okay. Today we will discuss about football, sport and media in Spain. As we know, Spanish sport is so popular in Indonesia. Real Madrid maybe is the one of the biggest club that's so popular in Indonesia, besides Barcelona too. Okay, both of them very very popular, but not football, but not just Spanish football. They're familiar in Indonesia, they're popular in Indonesia. In MotoGP, Spanish MotoGP racer is so popular. Badminton and tennis popular in Indonesia too. Okay, so I think it's our start for make a good relation with Professor Miguel Barbero Gonzales. We can make a collaboration research. We can make a collaboration publication and item. Okay, Professor Angel Barbero Gonzales become a lecturer and researcher. He is the golf editor in Diario ABC, Teledeporte, and Cadena COPE. Okay, so not just lecturer and researcher, but he is a journalist. Is right, Professor?
Yes.
Okay, Professor, thanks is yours.
Okay, thank you, Doctor.
Is okay?
Sure. Okay, Assalamualaikum. Thank you, all of you, for coming here for this meeting. And I'll try to show you how sport is right now in Spain, and as Professor Fajar said, which is the relationship we have between Spain and Indonesia in sports right now. Obviously, we are talking about football because this is the most important sport in Spain. I guess maybe I wonder in the world. but very, very important in Spain. But also, I will show you what happened with a minority sport like badminton in Spain, but not here, because we have a world champion and Olympic champion, Carolina Marin. So we think maybe she is more popular here than in Spain. And this is so funny. And this is something we want to research on. How it's possible that she's more popular here than in Spain? Because of their wins, obviously, but in the media repercussion is bigger here than there. Okay, so I know I have half an hour for the presentation. I have 4 PowerPoints, so I'll try to be quick. So we have more time later on to discuss everything. So first of all, I think you can have my presentation in the screens. Okay. So first of all, I will try to explain how Spain has become a reference country in sport now with world champions, like Professor said, in MotoGP, in Marc Marquez, or in Formula One, Fernando Alonso. We have several world champions right now, but a century ago, it was impossible to think about it. Because a century ago, Spain was a very poor country, and I'll tell you why. When the 18th century were finishing, in 1898, Spain lost their last 2 colonies, Cuba and the Philippines. So that caused a situation, that depression in Spain, because people started to think that we, Spanish people, Spain wasn't an empire anymore, so they had no money to afford things, and Spain became very poor at that time. There was a lot of poverty in Spain. This problem was increased because at the beginning of the 20th century in Europe, there were very important social changes, like the Russian Revolution, 1917, or the First World War, the First Great War, from 1914 to 1918. So Spain couldn't ask for help to other countries because of that situation, the war and everything. So what happened, how sport was introduced in Spain at that time. Okay, you know that the British Empire expanded sport in the old-fashioned way of sport, the sportsmanship and respect to the rival, and very, very gentleman activities. Sport was an activity for gentlemen, and they expanded through the British Empire to South Africa, India, Australia, Egypt, Malta, the countries and the Commonwealth. So in Spain, we were not in the Commonwealth, but British companies had interest in minery in several places in Spain. So where the British workers were in Spain, they practiced the sports they had in Britain. That's why golf, rugby, football, horses, races started became popular in Spain. But what happened? It happened that tennis or golf were played by the higher class people, and football were played by the lower classes, because it was easy to play football for everyone, just in the street with the ball and play football. But for tennis or cricket or golf, you need a field, you need more money. So was for the aristocracy, we can tell. And in 1924, the Spanish Olympic Committee was created. So we can say that this year, 1924, was the start of Spanish sport in the modern era. Okay, so 1924, we are now 2022, so it's 1 century. Okay, so we are going to watch the evolution of sport in Spain in that century. Okay, so what happened in the 20th century? There was another problem, apart of the one I told you, of the poverty and the First World War. It was that from 1936 to 1939, we had a civil war in Spain. Okay, the left parties and the right parties started a war, and after 3 years of war, the right party, commanded by the army, won the war. So the war was won by the right and the right parties and the army. And moreover, from 1939, so the same year the Spanish Civil War finished, started the Second World War from 1939 to 1945. So it happened the same again. Spain was very, very depressed and very, very broken by the war, with 1 million deaths. It was a very, very hard war, but Spain couldn't ask for help to the other countries because they were fighting in the World War. Okay? So, until the 50s, when the Americans created the Plan Marshall, maybe you have heard about that, for getting help with dollars from America, Spain war was still more poor than in the past. So that was not a good time for playing sports, obviously. But in the 50s, in 1955, the European Cup was created. The European Cup is now the Champions League. Okay, and Real Madrid won the first 5 European Cups, Champions Leagues, in a row. 5 consecutive cups. That was very important, not only for the club, for Real Madrid, but for all the immigrants that Spain had abroad. Because of the war, there was no jobs in Spain, and they had to go to other countries, to Germany, to America, to France. And this was a big help for them, for immigrants, a big inspiration. Real Madrid wins because they started to thought that Spain has a hope. It wasn't a broken country, because if they can win European titles, we have the spirit to fight and to forget the war and to be a modern country. So that's why they call Real Madrid the government team, because it helped people to think they are winners. Okay? So, this was in the 50s. Real Madrid as an ambassador, okay, for Spain in other countries, with the wins in other countries. Okay, what happened in the next decades? From 1939, when the Spanish Civil War finished, until 1975, when the dictator, the General Franco, died, the army had a very strong control in the country, and sports was not very organized in the country, because they prefer, the government, the army government, prefer to focus in security and in other things, not in sports. So there wasn't a real structure of sports. And the stars that, or the sportsmen that became stars was by their own talent, and not because there was an organization to bring new stars from the schools until the professional level. So it was just a matter of talent. So if you see this gentleman here, the bike racer, he's Federico Bamontes. He won the Tour of France. You know, Tour of France is the most important cycling race in the world, okay? He won the Tour of France in 1959. This gentleman here, is Manolo Santana. He won Wimbledon, tennis, Wimbledon, 1966, okay? And this one here is Angel Nieto. He won motorbike races, 13 times world champion. In the low categories, is like Moto 1 and Moto 2 now. Okay, no MotoGP, Moto 1 and Moto 2, but 13 times world champion. And all of them because of their talent, not because they have help from the government or they have money or no. Because of they were very good in their sports. Okay? But what happened when democracy, when the dictator died and Spain became again a democracy, not a dictature, I don't know the name, but a democracy. Okay, in 1975, the king, the monarchy, came back to Spain, and the parliament, and we have a parliament with election every 4 years. So the king is a dynasty. We have always the same dynasty. Actually, in 1975, the king was Juan Carlos I, and now the king is his son, Felipe VI. But it's the same dynasty, okay? But the parliament, it changes every 4 years. We have election and we change. To the left, to the right, whatever, okay? So, this was a political and social change, very important change. Because in 1992, where the Olympics came to Barcelona 92, it was the turning point for Spanish sport. Because all the country felt that the Olympics were very important for everyone. So every region, every people, helped to have the best competition possible. And the government understood that as well. And the government created a fund with public money and money from companies to help sportmen and sportwomen to practice like professionals. Because prior of these Olympics, the sportmen, the athletes, were not professional. So they have their own jobs in an office or wherever, and then they practice a couple of hours, and then they come back to home with the family to take care of the children and everything. But since the Olympics, the sportsmen, the athletes, are professional. So they have 8 hours a day just for practicing. For go to the gym, go to the football field or whatever, okay? And they can be professional because of the money they get for the fund. The fund is called Plan ADO. Plan ADO is where they receive the money. Okay, so the success of this plan was massive. And Spain won 22 medals. 22 medals is the highest number all the history. Never before and never after. 22 medals in that Olympics. So everyone noticed that this was the way to follow in the future. And from then, this plan is renewed every year, every 4 years, every Olympic 4 years. And new companies go into the fund to give money to allow athletes to have money in order to be professionals and to practice like professionals. In this picture, you see the Spanish football team was the Olympic champion in '92 as well. Okay, the gold medal. By that time, they don't, sometimes fans or media doesn't consider the gold medal in football, doesn't appreciate this very much, because by that time they have to be under 22 years old, and all the biggest stars go to the champions, to the Olympics. But, okay, it's a gold medal anyway. Okay. And what happened from 1992 to 2010? That Spain, with that experience, became a winner in many other sports. So, as you can see here, the basketball team was a world champion in 2008 in the World Championship with the Americans, with the NBA players, Argentina, Croatia, the best teams in the world, okay? Spain, world champion. In handball, here, world champion again in 2005, the Tour of France. In that decade, 2 decades, Spain won 10 times Tour of France. 5 of them by Miguel Indurain, okay? 5 in a row. It's a record as well. And here you have 2 golfers, Seve Ballesteros and Semola Zabal. They won 5 major championships, Grand Slam championships between them. Okay? And in other sports, a lot of wins as well. And why we stopped here in 2010? Because in 2010, Spain won the World Championship in South Africa. Okay? And this is the turning point for football in Spain. People like me, my generation, I never seen the Spain national team winning anything. We always lost in quarterfinals and semifinals. And for my generation, it was such an impact to see that Spain could become a world championship, because I grown up with Germany, with the Netherlands, with Brazil, Argentina winning everything. Italy, and Spain never. So it was a great impact for us, and a turning point, and a matter of belief. The same that happened in the 50s, that we have the spirit to be champions, and we fight together. If we fight together, we can go to the top. So this is very inspiring for all the society. So now this is Spain, especially with this team that mixed very well Real Madrid and Barca players. It was a good job by the coach Vicente del Bosque, because they forgot the difference and they made such just one team. No Barca, no Madrid, no, one team. And this was a great job by Vicente del Bosque. And that was a role model for all the young generations. And now the young people, they have grown up thinking that they are champions. I grew up thinking that we are losers, but now the children think they are champions. So this is a very, very interesting change. And this triumph, this win by the Spanish national team, 2 years later, Spain won the European champion as well. So this was very important, not only for the national team, but also for the Spanish league, La Liga. And now La Liga is followed, I will show you now the website, is followed, you can see the games of La Liga in all over the world, all over the world, globally. Only 4 countries in the world, only 4, don't have the games of La Liga. I try to remember, is Yemen, Taiwan, Papua New Guinea, one more small country. Only 4 in the whole world. The rest of the world receive the TV production of the games. Now La Liga is played every day, not only the weekend, every day. So it's globally known, okay? So Spanish football, we can say now that is a role model for the whole world. And a part of football, we have champions in many other different sports. And I said at the beginning, Fernando Alonso, Formula 1, Rafael Nadal, tennis, 20 Grand Slam titles. Next week, he's going to play Roland Garros. Yeah, he's injured, we don't know if he can win again, but I think we love Rafael Nadal, especially the fighting spirit he has. The fighting spirit, this is the good thing. In women sport in Spain, we call the Spanish national teams for women guerreras, warriors, because they fight together and they are very good. They win Olympic medals in handball, in basketball, in water polo, volleyball, in all team sports. Spanish women are really, really good because they fight together. So they are called the warriors. The warriors. Okay, so Pau Gasol, he won 2 NBA titles with the Lakers and Kobe Bryant. And Carolina Marin is the badminton player. We are going to talk about her in a minute. So we can say nowadays Spain is considered a reference in the world of sport just in 1 century time, from nothing to a world reference. And this is the first presentation I wanted to show you, just to see the evolution of the sport. Is from, especially from 1992, from the Olympics to now, when the turning point, first date, 1992, second turning point, 2010, with the World Cup, Football World Cup. Okay? So, I will show you Carolina Marin. Okay. Connecting the success of no? Oh, sorry. Maybe. Yeah.
Okay.
Okay. So maybe. Sorry. I have to break. Okay. So connecting the situation of sport and the situation of media, how media inform, or how media can translate the wins of the players to the population through the mass media, written media, the television, radio, the internet, whatever. I will show you the communication plan that they have for Carolina Marin. The name of the media officer of Carolina is Ignacio Paramio. And I'll try to translate you very, very quickly. I interview Ignacio, and I transcribe what he told me. So I will try to make a resume very quick. He started to work with her in 2015 after she won the second World Cup, because she was trying to find a person to take care of communication, because she wanted to have someone to take care of the schedule of interviews and everything, and so she could be more free, to have more free time to practice and not to be giving interviews to everyone. Okay, but in 2015 she won the Hong Kong Open, and then in 2016 it was the Olympics, and she won the Olympic gold medal, and everyone wanted to interview Carolina. So, and even the final, the Olympic final, Carolina won, when Carolina won the gold medal, was the second event more watched of the Olympics in Spain, only after Spain-United States basketball final. So it is very, very important, because in Spain, badminton is a very, very minor sport. Only 10,000 players. Only 10,000. So it's nothing. It's nothing. But everyone knows Carolina because of her wins. Okay, so this is a paradox, because she's a star there, she makes commercials, she's like a TV star, but people doesn't play. So it's just what we were talking about the talent of the pioneers. She's a pioneer, but people doesn't follow her, only watching and not practicing. Okay. You can see when she won, all the newspaper took her image, the photograph, to the front page. Okay, because it was very, very important for Spanish sports. And Ignacio, the press officer, has to determine all the interviews she gave, so he had a lot of work to do for social media, and created social media, and making all the interviews and everything, and make a communication strategy, not only giving interviews, but have everything in a schedule and well prepared, in a strategy, communication strategy. Okay, so from 2016 and 2017, they have to professionalize the work of the media officer. It was like I said before, with the athletes, and they need 8 hours like a professional. Sorry, Ignacio became a professional for Carolina. Okay, only work for her, and with that strategy. Because in 2017, he got injured and she had no results in the whole year. So it is important that when you don't have good results, you are still in the media, because otherwise people forget you. Okay? In Spain, and I don't know here, but minor sports only get attention when the Olympics are, every 4 years. The rest of the year, no one speaks about that. So it's important for him to keep the attention up even when there is no Olympics. So in 2017, no Olympics, even she was injured, so he had to make a strategy for keep the interest in Carolina. Okay? And they created a WhatsApp group for media to send information periodically. 70 journalists, and after 2017, in 2018, Carolina won the World Cup. Okay, and the interest grew again. Okay, with the World Cup. It was the second World Cup she won. And in the strategy of communication, he had to imagine and create features not only of her, but also of the team around her, like his mental coach, his physical coach. So a lot of histories, just to keep the level of the information of the attention high, the psychologists and everyone. Because one of the strengths of Carolina is her mind. It's really, really strong, her mind. That's why he can recover from injuries and become world #1 again. And now, in 2010, Carolina was playing here in Indonesia, and she got injured, very, very important injury in the knee, okay? And she couldn't go to the Olympics in Tokyo. So she couldn't defend her Olympic goal. That was horrible. Any other sportsman maybe think about retiring? Okay, I'm 28. My knee is broken. I'm not going to be the #1 again. But no. She okay, maybe one day, 2 days, she was down. But from the 5th day, she started to work with her coach, her mental psychologist, with all the team, and she recovered. And this year, she has won the European Championship again. So she has become a winner again after that important injury. Okay, so the communication team has to communicate, all these things just to make people realize how strong she is. Okay? Okay, so Carolina spent 12 hours daily for recovery. 12 hours daily, recovering and practicing and trying to be on top again. Okay, so this is very interesting for media to make features and to make interviews and to show how a person, not a normal person, because she's not a normal person, is an extraordinary person, can recover and can go to the top again after a very, very bad situation. Okay. So what he said at the end is that obviously the marketing and communication team, she has to adapt to every situation. When you win, it's easy to transmit wins. When you are down, you have to help her, and you have to show how she fights. Okay, so you have to adapt. And depending on the championship you go, or the championship you have on the horizon, or what you need to do. So, terima kasih. And I show you the video, just 3 minutes. I think you can see the translation in Indonesia. It's 3 minutes. No, sorry. Okay, how can I? Okay. How can we see the? Okay. Maybe if I yes. Yeah. Please prepare for PowerPoint, not for Google. Or no. Anyone has notes? Okay. Sorry about that. Okay. No, not yet. Oh, this is physical screen. Maybe. Here, yes, maybe. No? No? You can? This is me. This one? No? Panasonic CD or projector? Projector? Close. Here, anyone? Yes. Yes. Now. in the final. Oh, sorry. I have it in Google, but in Chrome, but
display.
Subtitles? Yeah, it's in Spanish, but the subtitles can be. From there, no problem.
Okay.
You just to watch it. I don't need to explain.
Okay.
No, yeah. It's just a video. Yeah, this one.
Yes.
No, put the video, the first one.
This one.
Yeah.
Okay.
Ready? And now in the settings. Yeah, and now subtitles.
Title. Okay.
In English.
Okay. It's automatically not in Spanish. Spain. Yes.
No, that you can choose a lot of languages.
Subtitle.
Yeah.
Automatic.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay.
Okay, and now full screen. And that's it.
Okay, Prof.
Yeah.
Okay, that's what.
We got it.
¿Quieres que seamos los mejores de la historia?
Here is the Olympic champion, Carolina Marin.
El objetivo es ganar los Juegos Olímpicos de Tokio. Se convertiría probablemente en la jugadora más laureada en grandes eventos de la historia.
¿Quieres que seamos los mejores de la historia?
Here is the Olympic champion, Carolina Marin.
El objetivo es ganar los Juegos Olímpicos de Tokio. Se convertiría probablemente en la jugadora más laureada en grandes eventos de la historia. Y bueno, hasta que llegó a la final de Indonesia.
A mí se me caía el mundo encima. Me quedo sin Juegos Olímpicos y sin nada. O sea, ya no hay ni objetivo de mejora de la historia ni nada.
A los 5 días estábamos en pista. No podemos perder ni un día de trabajo.
Va a ser la época de entrenamiento más dura que he tenido en toda mi carrera.
La exigencia es algo innegociable. No me vengas con rollo porque eso no viene de la rodilla. Pues eso ya no es un problema. Si hay alguien que no puede fallar, esa eres tú.
Volveré a ganar un partido contra una jugadora de nivel top. Volveré a ser la misma de antes.
¡Claro! ¡No puede ir todo tan lento! Está haciendo cosas que no. Es el ejercicio que hacemos de hace 3 años.
No conozco a ninguna persona tan controladora como lo es Fernando.
A mí no me has hecho ni caso en todo el partido.
Yo he tenido mucha bronca.
La situación es que te ha acostado el sábado a las 9 de la mañana.
Sinceramente no lo veo para tanto.
Mi trabajo es hacerte reflexionar sobre lo que tu ocio te puede costar. Y tú me dices que yo soy humano, vale, pero tienes que decidir qué tipo de humano eres. ¿El ordinario o el extraordinario? El ordinario hace cosas normales y el extraordinario hace cosas como las que tú has hecho. Y el super extraordinario sale de una lesión y gana los Juegos Olímpicos en el mismo año.
So this is just to show you how an extraordinary athlete can go through a very important injury to become number one again. Okay, not in that Olympics, but this year in the European Championship, and she is working again for the next championship and for the next Olympics in Paris in 24. Okay, so this is how a media director has to deal with journalists, with the interviews and with the communication plan. And now I will show. Oh, okay, sorry. I hope it works now. Okay. Oh. Yes. Good. Now the communication plan for the Spanish Federation. Okay? It has been made by Enrique Junta, is the Vice Director of Communication of the Spanish Federation. He gave me this plan just to show you here. Okay? This is a private plan for them, but I told him that I was coming here, and he was very, very proud to share with you how from the Federation they send the news to the media, to the public. Okay? So I will show you quickly because it's in Spanish and I don't want to bother you. So first of all, what is a communication plan? He said that it's mandatory to have a communication plan, especially for an institution like the Spanish Federation. And this is very important. Football is very important in Spain, and you cannot give a wrong information. Okay, this is very important. All the information you give from the Spanish Federation has to be confirmed and has to be very clear. Okay, because in other ways there is a lot of interest, a lot of money, and if you give wrong information, it's going to be very, very costly. Okay, but he says as well that your strategy, your communication plan has to be flexible, okay? Because things can change. So you have to be a plan A, B, and C, just in case you have to modify, okay? This is what communication is, okay? So you need to have a strategy. And what you need to, why you need this strategy? Because you have to know what to say, how to deliver the information, and what to say in the information. And in which manner you say that, okay? So, communication plan for Rfps, Real Federación Española de Fútbol, okay? Spanish Federation. So, they have to, from the PR department, from the communication department, they need to coordinate all the departments in the federation. The referees, the game competition, the money organization, everything has to go through the communication department. Okay? And then they filter what they can say and what they cannot, okay? So there is a mix of free information and institutional information. The institutional information comes from the president, the members of the board, the coaches, the captains of the national team. So everyone has something to say, but they cannot say freely. So it's better that they come through one voice, the communication department. So they use their own channels and then they send to the media. Okay? So, which are the own channels? Digital communication is now very important. Digital communication, the new media. Okay? And this is a multi-level context, multi-channel. They can send the same communication from different ways at the same time, so you don't lose time sending faxes or something in the old ways. Now it's just clicking and all the world has the information you want to distribute. And but the audience, you have to segmentate. You say that? Segmentate the audience. Okay, so you don't send the same information to everyone. So from for one audience you send a message, and for others you send another message, and for others you send another message. Okay, you have to adapt to the different codes and context of every segment. Okay. Here you have from the audience segment for the website, the YouTube, the Facebook, Twitter, LinkedIn, the new media we have right now. You you change your language concerning where you want to send the information. Okay? It's not the same message you send to the web or to LinkedIn. Okay? Now, because the Spanish Federation has their own channels in Instagram, TikTok, Twitter, WhatsApp, whatever, and they send different messages. Well, the same message but with a different code, depending where they are going to be watched. Okay, so it's important those messages, not everything to the nets, and not everything to all the nets. You have to segment, and not the same information in all the nets. Okay, you have to select what to send to every net. WhatsApp reflection. This is important because the Spanish Federation, in Spain, there are 50 provinces in Spain, and those 50 provinces are in 17, we call it communities, different communities. So Madrid is in Madrid community, only one province. Barcelona is in Catalonia community, 4 provinces, so depends. Sevilla is in Andalusian community, 8 provinces, so depend where you are located geographically. You depend from Sevilla, for instance, or Betis, they depend of Andalusian Federation. Barcelona depend of Catalonia Federation. Madrid depends of Madrid Federation, so depends. So this is important to know the role of the territorial federation, the community federation. So there are 17 federations giving information to the Spanish Federation, that is just one, has to coordinate all the 17, okay? So this is important to coordinate this. And this is the same. You have to mix information and institutional communication and the figures of presidents, coaches, very important, the audiovisual information you give. Every time is more important audiovisual information. Is Athletic Bilbao, Real Madrid, this Sunday final Super Cup, Spanish Super Cup, Athletic Real Madrid. It was played in Saudi Arabia. Okay, so it's important to notice that the Spanish Federation rules the amateur football in Spain, and La Liga rules professional football, first and second division. But sometimes during the season, the players from the professional football, from La Liga, come to the Spanish Federation for the competition, Supercopa, Copa del Rey, or even the national team. So it's like they hire the players, the professional players, for an amateur competition. This is the way it works. And for this commercial, the players for Real Madrid and Athletic Bilbao, they are owned by Real Madrid and Athletic Bilbao. They own to La Liga, but for this competition, they gave the rights, we can say, to the Spanish Federation. And they make commercials and everything. It's the same with the national team when they play a World Cup or friendly matches. So here is the Copa del Rey. It's a similar video. Quarterfinals. One game a match. This commercial is made by the Spanish Federation, not La Liga. Okay, La Liga is the whole season, but just for the Copa del Rey is the Spanish Federation who rules the competition. Okay, follow our games in Twitter, Facebook, and everything. Okay, you see? For the Spanish Federation, not from La Liga, for the Spanish Federation. Okay, what they look for with these videos? They look to get more impact, strong impact than the conventional advertising. So they look for to make an impact in the viewers' brains. Okay, with these videos, with good music, with good images, with good goals, and everything. And they look for how you say viralización is make the videos viral. right? Yeah, and look for human histories of the players or the teams or whatever. And again, they need to coordinate the different federation and the different teams. It's always the same. And the importance of audiovisual image, and it's very important. Every year is more important the design. You have a new design, because in the internet everything changes. Maybe last year advertising is old now, so they need to improve every year with 3D or with everything you can imagine from one year to another. That's what it says, that infographics is worth more than 1,000 words. If you see a very impact image, infographics, maybe with cinema mode, you can send a better information, and your impact is going to be higher, okay, with a good infographic, with a good advertisement. Sorry. So, here, for instance, you give the information of the referees. Maybe you can say, oh, a referee is not important. I don't mind who is going to be the referee. But, okay, you need to give the information. And let the spectators decide if this is important or not. Okay, but you have to give the information. And the fourth referee and the VAR, the TV VAR, I don't know, is the same here, VAR, VAR? Okay.
But there is no here in Indonesia.
No here?
No here.
I think it's right. Yeah, because it's crazy. Every time, go to the TV. Go to the, oh, come on. Come on. Let the players play and score goals. And have penalties or whatever. Okay, this is the announce for the press conference. The time with one team press conference and with another. Okay, Valencia and Betis. Okay, this is the final, this year's final. You know, Betis won the cup in Seville. Okay, and this is for the, not now for the Copa del Rey, the Spanish Cup. Now is the national team. Every time the national team goes to a match, there is the coach, Luis Enrique, has the list. This time the captain is Carlos Ortiz. So they gave information about the captain, and another information, another important information is that in Twitter there are 2,500 million viewers in Twitter. Okay, so this is a high number. And again, the final in La Cartuja in Seville, you see the importance of the design. Okay, in the information, the design is very important. And here, this is for Luis Enrique. La lista, the list, the players who are in the national team for these games, for Spain, Albany, and Spain, Ireland. Okay, those are not very important games, obviously, but you need to make this important. This is your role as a media director. A game with no importance, but if you communicate with good design and good information, maybe you can make people watch this game. No important at all, but if you can do this job, this is very good for you, okay? And for TV audience and everything. And this is, thank you for your attention. And if you want...
Okay, very interesting.
Thank you.
Well, I'm sorry, I will translate the ratio of your presentation to the audience, because any audience asks to me to translate in bahasa in Indonesia. Okay, maybe only 10 minutes. I will try to make a resume in bahasa because any audience asks me to make a resume in bahasa. Jadi Profesor Miguel Barbero ini dari Madrid. Beliau tadi menjelaskan sebagai berikut. Yang pertama, olahraga di Spanyol itu sebenarnya tumbuhnya relatif lambat dibandingkan negara-negara lain di Eropa terutama sebagai akibat dari Perang Dunia Pertama, Perang Dunia Kedua, dan Perang Sipil yang terjadi di Spanyol. Kebangkitan olahraga di Spanyol sama seperti kondisinya karena waktu itu the Spanish Imperium itu sudah tidak lagi menguasai Kuba, Filipina, dan sebagainya, negara-negara jajahannya. Nah, kemudian pasca Perang Dunia Kedua ada bantuan dari Amerika namanya Marshall Plan yang memberikan gift dollar to Europe countries after World War II setelah Perang Dunia Kedua, yaitu digunakan untuk pembangunan. Nah, dalam kondisi Spanyol yang sedang mengalami penurunan ekonomi, decline of economy, warga negara Spanyol banyak melakukan migration to the other countries, ke negara-negara lain. Nah, ketika Real Madrid pertama kali menjadi juara, win the champion, itu jadi sebuah kebanggaan, not just for the Madrid, but for the Spanish people, dan juga warga Spanyol yang berada di luar negeri, terutama yang jadi imigran. Maka kemudian itu menjadi Real Madrid like ambassador for Spanish, like a government for the Spanish. Okay? Terus ada sebenarnya di masa-masa tahun 70-an, 80-an sudah mulai muncul kebangkitan bagi kita generasi 90-an yang suka baca bola. In Indonesia, there was a popular tabloid in the printed era, the namely bola. Bola is ball. Bola, the meaning of bola is ball in English. Oke, Miguel Idurian saya ingat itu dulu sangat sering muncul di tabloid bola. Meskipun bola itu kebanyakan adalah sepak bola, tapi kadang muncul olahraga non sepak bola kalau kualitasnya tinggi. Salah satunya adalah Idurian. Kemudian tadi juga ada Angel Nieto, sorry jika salah, if wrong, Monato Santana. Nah, Olimpiade di Barcelona tahun 1992 adalah awal kebangkitan dari olahraga di Spanyol. Untuk for the first time and the last time, Spanish get 22 medals. Okay. Nah, mungkin Indonesia harus belajar dari Spanyol. Indonesia must study to Spanish, become the host of Olympic. Okay, because we are low in Asia. Okay. Nah, terus kemudian tahun 2010 adalah hal yang paling luar biasa ketika untuk kali pertama tim nasional Spanyol in football memenangkan kejuaraan Piala Dunia di Afrika Selatan, yes, in South Africa. Dan itu menjadi kebanggaan bagi warga Spanyol maupun diaspora and Spanish diaspora. Untuk kali pertama Spanyol menjadi juara for the first time, karena sebelumnya negara-negara Eropa, the strongest countries in Europe like Germany, Italia, and others. Oke, terus ada juga atlet seperti Rafael Nadal is so popular in Indonesia, and now Carolina Marin, in badminton. Badminton itu bukan olahraga terkenal di Spanyol, hanya 700 only 700 players in badminton, right?
1,000.
Oh, sorry.
No, 10,000 players in Spain.
10,000 players only. Tapi bisa jadi juara di Indonesia banyak. Oke. So many Indonesia player. Dan yang menarik, kemudian Profesor Miguel Barbero menjelaskan pentingnya perencanaan komunikasi yang baik dalam mengelola atlet. For example, in Carolina Marin, kita bisa melihat tadi bagaimana tim komunikasinya itu bekerja secara luar biasa. They work very strongly to make the communication, to make advertisement endorsement about Carolina Marin to the audience. Okay, because karena kita tahu di Spanyol badminton is not popular. Okay, so perlu untuk menginformasikan kepada lebih banyak audiens karena only popular in the Olympic game. Yes, that Professor.
Every 4 years.
Every 4 years. Okay. Dan kemudian tadi teman-teman yang berbahagia adalah pentingnya periklanan yang maju, advertising, terutama infografik dan video. For example, about referee in Indonesia, it's so rare that we look infographic about referee. Okay, even in Indonesia we need more information about referee. Because in Indonesia, the problem of football, especially, is about referee. Prof. Yes. Okay. There is no VAR in Indonesia, and the players always protest to the referee. But the referee and the committee didn't have the video proof because there is VAR in Indonesia. Okay, so it will become a problem in Indonesia football system and other.
And referees are professional here or not? In Indonesia?
Not really. Actually, they are good.
In Spain they are.
Yes.
They are professional.
Personal. In Indonesia, referee must join with the license in football federation, in National Football Federation or in Asia Football Federation. But very limited referee that licensed by Asian Football Federation, especially FIFA too. Okay, so many people in Indonesia, but so limited people that licensed by FIFA in Indonesia. There is the problem in Indonesia. Okay, it will become more interesting research in Indonesia.
And you have problems of corruption?
Yes.
With referees?
Yes. Everyone agree. The problem in Indonesia in football and other sports is corruption and the intervention of politics.
Yeah.
Almost.
It's the same.
It's the same. But
in all the countries.
okay, but it's over the point in Spanish.
Sometimes,
Yes.
not now, but in the past, 20 years ago,
Okay.
it was a big problem, especially at the end of the season,
Yes.
when some teams need to, from second division
Oh,
to
yes.
first division, and in first division don't want to go to second division, and maybe they have money to the referee. Okay, we need a 1-0. We need, so this is or not to the referee, maybe to the goalkeeper.
Oh, okay.
We need 2 goals. So the goalkeepers let them score twice. So not now. Now it's very controlled.
Yes.
But in the past, it was a big problem.
Okay. Thank you, Prof. Okay, let me start question and answer. All the audience in Instagram Live and Twitter Space and the audience in this group, you can ask question or give opinion or share your experience about sport and media in Indonesia, and maybe in Spanish. For example, if you are the fans of Real Madrid, you can tell about why you like Real Madrid, for example. Okay, and how you interaction with Real Madrid. Okay, for example, you buy original jersey and other. Okay, let's start.
I have to say, sorry, first of all, that I was born in Madrid, and I was a fan of Real Madrid when I was young. Okay, I was a member of Real Madrid since I was 20 or 22. Since I started to work as a journalist, so I finished. I stopped. But when I was young, I went to the stadium every week. Every week. So I saw a lot of games every week, and every Sunday and every Wednesday for the Champions League.
What was the memorable match for you of all Real Madrid match that you come to the stadium?
Yeah, the Wednesdays, the Champions League Wednesdays. This year, for example, Real Madrid has won 3 times to Paris Saint-Germain, Arsenal, and Chelsea, with coming with the difference against. And Real Madrid was capable to save the result and to go to the next step. That happened in the 80s as well. Yeah, with the team with Butragueño and Valdano and Michel, all these players made the same heroics in the European games, and they won twice UEFA Cup. Now it's not played, and they have changed the name.
Yes.
But in that time, Real Madrid went to the final and won twice this competition by changing the results with a strong fight, and when they played abroad, they lose, and then when they came to Santiago Bernabeu, they won the game with a strong fight.
Okay.
So that was very, very impressive.
Okay.
And one more thing.
Yes.
And as a fan,
Yes.
I went to I assist in Santiago Bernabeu
Yes.
to the World Championship final in 1982.
1982.
Italy, Germany.
Oh, Italy, Germany, yes.
Italy, Germany. Italy won.
Yes.
And I was in the stadium as a fan, not as a journalist, but it was a very, very impressive moment.
Okay.
Watching the final of a World Cup.
Okay, okay. Okay, thank you, Prof. Okay, let's start the question and answer. The EK, is there a question? Okay, Mr. Berry is the alumni and he is a journalist now.
Please. Oh.
Okay, okay.
Berdiri atau
Okay, berdiri boleh. You can stand up.
Selamat siang teman-teman. Selamat siang Prof.
Selamat siang,
Good afternoon. Buenos noches or Buenos dia.
Buenas tardes.
Okay, my name is Harry and I'm a football journalist. So I have some experience doing my work. In Indonesia, there are so many rivalries between clubs. My experience is I was in match between PSM Jogja and Persis Solo. It's old rivalries in Indonesia. And in that match, there are violence that happens to my friends, my fellow journalists.
Violence?
Yes.
The journalists?
Yes. They got beaten. They got even by not only by a supporter but by a player also.
Wow.
Yeah. The player got banned for 5 years, I think. My question is that happen also in Spain, or how the condition of football journalists in Spain especially? How they get paid or how they work? And then my second question is about the Barcelona 92. That Olympic also historical for Indonesian sport, because in that Olympic we won 2 gold medal from badminton. Yes.
For the first time.
Yeah, for the first time also, and we never won more than 1 gold medal in Olympic after that Barcelona 92. Okay. So my question is tadi mungkin sudah ditanyakan Mas Fajar Junaedi. Apakah Indonesia can follow the Spain to become host to make sports in this country grow? Because Indonesia have some experience hosting international event. The last time we host MotoGP and before we host Asian Games, but the sports really not grow so much. Okay, that's all I think. Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
Mr. Harry.
Thank you.
Okay, any other question? Okay, the second question. Okay.
I answer first or?
I think. Okay. Okay. Sorry, teacher masuk. Okay, you can answer.
Okay. So, first question was about violence against journalists. Okay, in Spain there is no violence. Okay, but it's true that there are TV shows and radio shows with journalists. I don't like that, but with journalists clearly divided in Real Madrid journalists, Barcelona journalists, or Atletico journalists. So this is what we call hat journalists, because they put the hat of a team, and they everything they say about this team is good. I think this is not to be a journalist. You are a fan. In that case, you are not a journalist. I don't like this kind of shows, because I don't want a journalist speaking everything good for a team. He has to be objective. Objective is the okay. He has to say the truth, not something. the fans want to hear. Okay? He has to say what happens, not what people wants to hear to happen. Okay? So that's true that fans know which journalists are from Real Madrid and which journalists are from Barcelona. But I don't think there is violence against them. Maybe when the game finishes, okay, someone can say, hey, your team has lost or anything like that. And if the journalist won, he answers out. If not, he goes to his place. But they don't really fight outside the stadium. And I think this is good. I don't like to go to work and then to have to fight. So I think it's better. And what I say is, I write or I say what I see. If you don't like what I write, okay, don't buy my newspaper. That's easy. But don't expect me to write what you want to read. If you don't like my writing, okay, buy another newspaper. There's no problem. But I'm not going to change what I saw in the game. Okay. And concerning the second question, I think in Spain the key point was that in 1992 all the country was united for the same objective. Have the best competition, Olympic competition in history. And they create a fund with money for allowing the athletes, the sportmen and sportwomen, to be professional. And with this money, they can practice the whole day like professional. 8 hours, or like Carolina, 12 hours a day, what they need. And this is very important, not only in the high level, in the professional level, but also in the basic level, from schools to junior competitions, university competitions, and professional competition. So this is what I call a structure, a sporting structure from the schools, from the children, to the rest of the levels. And in all schools, there are competitions. With the best player, the best children go to the higher level, and if they are very, very good enough, they go to professional level. That's how you can find, or you can have good athletes in all the sports, not only in football, in all the sports. Maybe you are good in tennis or in badminton or in cycling, or okay. So try every sport you like from school, and if you are good enough, okay, go to university, go to professional, but you are going to have the help of the fund, of the government fund, through Consejo Superior de Deportes. It's like is a sports council. It's like the Ministry of Sport in Spain. They control all the sports, from amateur sports to professional sports. And that's how in Barcelona we got 22 medals, in London 19, in Rio 20, in Tokyo 15. Always the levels are high, depending of a lot of things. In Tokyo we had at least 6 athletes with medal possibilities not going because of injuries, or like Carolina Marin in badminton, Orlando Ortega in athletics, in 100 steeplechase, or almost 6 real medal possibility not going to the Olympics. So it was a pity, because we lost the opportunity of more medals. But London, Tokyo was very, very strange. Olympics. So I think we can put it in brackets and go to Paris. Yeah, because with the pandemics, with everything, I didn't like this Olympics.
Thank you, Prof. Okay, the next question, please.
Good afternoon. I'm Gusti Panji. I'm from International Program of Communication Studies. I want to ask about, is there any other sport that developed in Spain except that you tell on your slide, and there are any achievement or any factor that they can develop well or cannot develop well? That's it. Thank you.
I don't understand very well the question.
Okay. Are there any sport present your slide, your presentation, develop?
Develop?
Yes. For example, education.
Ah.
What it means after sport is been developed.
Okay, so for instance, basketball has always been important in Spain, but as we have the best players in Spain go to the NBA. So 2 years ago or 3 years ago, we had 8 players in the NBA. The Pau Gasol, Marc Gasol, Ibaka, Hernan Gomez, some of them, they went, and they are members of the Spanish national team in the Olympics, in the World Cup, and they regularly play in the NBA. So this is very important that the players playing in America give the support to the national team in Spain, and when they come back to Spain, they go to schools, they go to, they practice in all the communities, as I say, the provinces, because the Spanish National Federation Basketball want to develop basketball in all over Spain with the Spanish players in the NBA, because they are stars and they are the reference for the young kids. And this is very important to notice that the Spanish national teams in the lower categories, under 16, under 18, under 20, they won regularly in the European Championships, both in men and women, and even the World Championships in their categories. So the base, the young generations are getting success. So we expect that when we get to the national team, to the top, the high national team, they can repeat. I don't know if the World Championship, like they won in 2008 and then in 2019, twice a world champion in the basketball team, is going to be possible because this generation, Gasol and Reyes, Marc Gasol, the both players, the both brothers, are retired now from national team. So the Spanish national team is going to be renewed for the next championship, the next European champion. But we are confident because the low categories, under 16, under 18, under 20, they are good enough to take the spot. So maybe they can win again, or maybe not winning, but be in the third position, or in the final, or in the fourth position. This is good. So I think with the help of the money and with the help of the stars in the NBA coming to Spain to make illusion and to inspire the young generations, they can do a lot of good things. Yeah, maybe basketball is a good example.
Okay. Still any other question?
One question again.
Okay.
Can I? is the Spain government involved that the young athlete training, or there any private institution that help the young athlete train themselves?
Yes, as I said, there is a fund with money from the government and from companies. And depending on the results the athletes get, they get more money or less. So if they are European champions, they have a fair, they earn an amount of money. If they are Olympic champions, they get a higher money. So depending on the results, of if they are in the 8th position in an Olympic game, they get another amount of money. So depending on the results you are getting, in the competitions you get more money or less money. And in all the federations, they balance how much money the fund gives to the federation. For instance, football, as is very important, and they get a lot of money from La Liga and the TV rights and everything, they don't get any money from the fund, from the government. They don't get money for football. But for badminton, they need the money because they are very little players. So they need more help from the government. I say badminton or I don't know, table tennis or some sports minor sports. But football, basketball, or even golf, they have a lot of players. So they don't need money from the government, from the fund. But the only federations, they balance. You have more players, you earn less money. You have little players, you get more money. So there is a balance with the money they receive. And then the money the federations receive, they split in with the athletes, depending on the results they get in the international competitions. This is how it works.
Okay, thank you, Prof. Okay, maybe for your information, the Real Madrid basketball team is the #1 in Spanish too. Okay, in Indonesia, it's rare that football team, a football club has a basketball club, except maybe Bali United. But no, in Indonesia, started the football club in Indonesia as the most popular sport has their own basketball team. Okay, started in the Bali United, for example, in Bali Island. Okay, and NBA is so popular in Indonesia. And in Indonesia, there is a competition for young student, namely DBL, Detection Basketball League, and it's organized by event organizer from Surabaya, from East Java. In Jogja, there is a stadium for basketball from DBL too. Maybe for your next visiting to Jakarta, we can visit to the stadium of basketball. Sure. Okay.
I like basketball very much.
Okay.
I was covering the NBA for 15 years there. In the 90s, I was interviewing when Michael Jordan played, Magic Johnson, Larry Bird. So in those years, I went to the NBA for 15 straight years. So I was an expert in basketball. And now from the 2000, I am an expert in golf. So I write about golf right now. But at the beginning of my career, I was an expert in basketball.
Okay. I hope the student of UMY become the journalist like Professor Miguel, internationally journalist in NBA. Okay, for Indonesian journalists, to join the conference World Cup, is like to go Mecca for Hajj. Yes, it's similar for journalists in Indonesia. The highest level for journalists in Indonesia is become the journalist in World Cup. It's a dreaming for Indonesian journalists.
Yeah, it's a good
Okay.
of course.
Okay, the last question from okay. They are from Football Fandom. Football Fandom is the media of sport in Yogyakarta too. Okay. I will send the link of bola.com and Football Fandom to your email.
Hello, my name is Miguel Barbero Gonzales. I'm from Football Fandom. I want to ask you about if in Indonesia, especially football, we just focus to winning something. So how about in Spain? Is it same or not? So what is the focus for the government, media, and the people about the winning something, or we look for the process too?
Yeah.
This is what I want to ask you. Thank you.
Okay, it's interesting. You know, in the highest level clubs like Real Madrid, Barcelona, Atletico, they only think in winning. They only think in winning the league, La Liga, or the European champions, or whatever they are playing, or Copa del Rey, or whatever. For the lower level teams, they try to keep the category from the start of the season. They say, okay, what I need to keep my level in first division. I need 20 points. So I need to match 10 games and win 3, and this is their focus. And once they get that, they relax, and maybe they play better when they get the job done. But there are another teams that they are very focused in what we call cantera. Cantera is the academy from the junior golf to the high level. So this is for Athletic Bilbao, for example. They try to find the players in their own academies. They don't like to go and buy players. No, they form the players from the beginning. They are children, and they grow to the first division team. So Athletic Bilbao, for example, they are not so much focused in winning the league, but in taking new players from their own system. So depend of the kind of club you are. But obviously everyone wants to win. But depends of the money they have as well. Real Madrid has a lot of money. So they have a good academy with a lot of teams in first and in second division and in junior competition, but at the end they prefer to buy players abroad. What happened with maybe the 2,000 players, 2,000 children you have in your academy? You don't have a space for all of them, and they send their own players to other teams, and then they buy players from other teams. So that's a crazy situation. So because they spend more money, they spend a lot of money creating players, and they spend a lot of money bringing players. So it's a double expense. But they win. They always want to win, and they want to buy the best players, and they don't mind to spend millions of euros in players. Okay, it's their philosophy, and they win. So you can't say anything.
Okay, thank you. Very, very interesting presentation. I think we still enough to make to join with our very interesting seminar with Professor Miguel, and we hope Professor Miguel come to Yogyakarta again next year okay, when the competition of football and basketball and golf are running in Indonesia, and we will invite you to come to the stadium in Indonesia. Okay, so you can enjoy the situation in Indonesia. Okay, our friend from bola.com, Bola is Ball, okay, and football fandom will accompany all of us to join to the stadium. Okay, terima kasih. Okay, Professor can say terima kasih in bahasa. Okay. Oh, I'm sorry, Prof. I forget that Indonesia former former coach in football is Luis Milla. Oh yes, Luis Milla, and football fans Indonesia love Luis Milla. Okay, yes. No. but the contribution of Luis Milla in Indonesian football. Okay, because Luis Milla, he did not.
Luis Milla.
Yes, Luis Milla.
Oh, sorry. I understood Milan.
Oh no, Luis Milla. No.
Okay.
Luis Milla, Indonesia.
He played for Real Madrid.
Yes, played for
Barca
and become football coach in Indonesia national team.
Oh,
Yes. So popular for Indonesia football fans because the communication of Luis Milla is so good to the journalists. Okay, but now the Indonesian coach come from South Korea. Shin Tae-young. Yes, Shin Tae-young. Okay. Terima kasih teman-teman semua. Thanks to the audience. Applause to us. Okay. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Okay, we will continue to take the picture and give the session to Master of Ceremony.
Thank you, Prof. Miguel and Dr. Fajar Junaedi. Ladies and gentlemen, it means that our event is closing to the age. Before we close the event, we would like to present ceremonial gift to Professor Miguel. So we invite you to the front and please kindly for Mr. Fajar Junaedi to give the ceremonial gift.
Zara tengah rawa. Tengah rawa ya?
Rawa apa?
Thank you. Yes.
Okay, for photo session, we invite the participants to the front. Please take position. Kepada seluruh partisipan kami mohon untuk kesediaannya untuk foto bersama. Jelas.
Zara guys. Tekan tangan.
Yes. Berarti bahasa. Thank you. Thank you. Just what your. Oh, so glad. Okay, so
Kan, tulanan kamera.
Ayo yang mau ke Real Madrid kalau besok bingung. Professor Miguel campus is in the downtown of Real Madrid, the center of Real Madrid.
Okay, there is a campus
Yes.
in Madrid. There is a campus in Getafe. Well, Getafe is another first division team.
Yes.
So I am in Getafe right now.
Oh, okay.
Right? There is a campus in Madrid as
So,
well.
okay, 1, 2, okay, ready to arrive?
Thank you everyone for coming. Thank you everyone.
Ladies and gentlemen, this is the last our session. Thank you for participating today. I'm sorry for all the mistakes that I made. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Because we want to research, so we need at least 50 days for researching and 1 week for teaching. Minimum 2 weeks.
Teman-teman, untuk link sertifikat nanti ada di depan ya. Jadi teman-teman akan untuk registrasi kembali. Nanti link sertifikatnya difoto aja. Soalnya masih akan kita buka sampai nanti malam. Jadi nanti ketika teman keluar, mohon untuk registrasi kembali ya. Terima kasih.
One day traveling to Spain. and knowing that you are so kind to me, and that there is so many lines for researching from now on in the next future in sports, comparing sport in Spain and sport in Indonesia, in different sports, mainly in the best common sports as football, and mainly and in minor sports in Spain like badminton, but this is a big one here. So even in golf is the opposite. It's very important in Spain and it's not so important here in Indonesia. So I think we can research and we can work in many ways to get good papers, good articles for publishing in the academic ways. So I think we can start. This has been a very, very interesting situation, travel for us. We can have a very, very good results in the next future. I hope to be back again because, as I said, I feel like a member of your family here in Indonesia and in this university. Thank you very much for your help.
Yeah.
Is it okay?
Okay.
Thank you.
And they will take for this very short your statement about champion final. How about academic but champion final.
Okay.
And then make it so people for Indonesia football fans. Okay. And make it fun. Asal bukan Liverpool. I support Madrid because I did Liverpool.
Okay, the mask, no mask?
No mask is okay.
No mask is okay. Because I can breathe. You want me to look to the camera?
Professor Miguel from Madrid. I want to ask you about how the Champions League final, who will the Champions League Madrid or
Okay, obviously, I am from Madrid and I want Real Madrid to win the Champions League. It will be the 14th title for Real Madrid. Unfortunately, 40 years ago, Real Madrid and Liverpool compete in a final in Paris as well, and Liverpool won that time. So I hope this time Real Madrid win the Champions League. I am confident because Real Madrid is very good when he reaches the finals. So I think in just one game he can win. He has the skills, he has the players, and I don't matter if they start losing or they start winning because they can go over the result in 90 minutes or even in the extra time or even in the penalties. So I am confident that they will win. Thank you. Thank you.
They are our student too. Even they are still a student, they work as students. Okay? And they must finish their study. Before they go out of the campus. This research is about football and media. This research is about football and football fans. Good. So maybe we conference with students and they research about sport and
Yeah. On France, it's very interesting what you said about violence against journalists. It's very interesting. Okay, so what you need from me, feel free to ask. Prof, he has my email, so you can email or whatever you need. So please, do it.
our media staff want to take a picture with you.
Please.
Still a student too.
Please. Yeah, it has been a great time here for me. Professor.
Because we have been here so little time. We need to experience more time.
Ya kabeh lah, kon melu.
Kok kabeh?
Halo. Anu kabel son kok ngendi bro kabel.
Okay.
Bum. Oh, ya, tak gawane berarti.
Patata, yes.
Halo Mati.
Ya. Thank you.
Assalamualaikum. I was gonna have a break. Boleh.
Piye kowe iki?
Mulang.